In this video, we delve into a dark and often overlooked chapter of history, exploring the atrocities committed by Unit 731, a secretive Japanese military unit during World War II. We'll uncover the disturbing experiments and acts of cruelty that took place within this unit, shedding light on a painful and important part of history that many people are unaware of. In the early 20th century, Japan underwent a remarkable transformation, shifting from a feudal society to a modern industrial nation. This period of rapid change was initiated during the Meiji Restoration, which began in the late 19th century. Japanese leaders recognized the necessity of catching up with Western powers, leading to the end of Japan's centuries-long isolation enforced by the Tokugawa shogunate in 1853–54, when American naval officer Matthew C. Perry forcefully opened Japan to international trade. One of the most notable aspects of this transformation was the stark contrast between Japan's traditional culture and the newly adopted Western ways. The traditional samurai culture, emphasizing honor and martial skills, gave way to a society rapidly embracing modernity. Japan's buildings, clothing, and weaponry lagged behind the West, but the government remained committed to change. By 1871, Japan initiated a rapid westernization process that astonished the world. Within decades, it transitioned from an agricultural society to an industrial powerhouse with railways, factories, and a modernized military. However, this rapid change also brought challenges, requiring the adoption of Western societal norms, including fashion, particularly for women. This shift sparked social changes and discussions about gender roles. As Japan continued its modernization, it aspired to be recognized as an equal by Western powers. However, racial bias and territorial disputes contributed to growing tensions. The West viewed Japan's rise with suspicion, fearing it might disrupt the existing world order. Japan's ambition to be recognized as an equal power was met with resistance. Western nations, particularly the United States and European powers, were wary of Japan's expansionist tendencies. Some harbored deep-seated racial biases that cast doubt on Japan's capabilities and intentions. Territorial conflicts arose as Japan's ambitions clashed with Western colonial interests, resulting in unequal treaties that fueled Japanese resentment. Adding to these challenges was the perception that Japan had not received a fair deal in the aftermath of World War I. Despite its role in aiding the Allies, Japan's territorial gains and trade rights were seen as insufficient by many within the country. This dissatisfaction contributed to a growing sense of alienation from the Western world. The westernization of Japanese cities, the increasing popularity of baseball and jazz, and the emergence of women demanding equal rights all symbolized a changing Japan that challenged traditional norms. These cultural shifts, along with economic and political pressures, set the stage for Japan's aggressive foreign policy in the 1930s. In the 1930s, Japan underwent a significant shift towards expansionism driven by both internal militarization and external ambitions. The Japanese military's growing influence led to a de facto military dictatorship, resulting in aggressive foreign policies aimed at securing resources and dominance in Asia. The invasion of Manchuria in 1931 marked a critical turning point. Japan's military, without clear civilian authorization, seized this resource-rich region in China to access coal and iron for industrial growth. This act initiated Japan's expansionist policies in China, culminating in the Second Sino-Japanese War in 1937. The conflict brought immense suffering and loss of life to the Chinese population due to Japan's brutal campaigns. Despite international condemnation and scrutiny for using chemical and biological weapons and committing atrocities, Japan persisted in its expansionist agenda. They believed it was vital to secure resources and maintain their newfound industrial and military power. This aggressive path ultimately drew Japan deeper into World War II. Amidst Japan's aggressive expansion in Asia during the 1930s and 1940s, a sinister chapter unfolded within the walls of Unit 731. This covert facility, officially known as the No. 731 Water Purification Unit, conducted gruesome experiments on human subjects. making it one of the darkest chapters in the history of medical atrocities. Led by Dr. Shiro Ishii, Unit 731 was primarily tasked with researching biological and chemical warfare. This research involved conducting experiments on thousands of innocent civilians, both Chinese and other prisoners of war. The experiments ranged from infecting victims with deadly diseases, including plague, cholera, and syphilis, to testing the effects of extreme cold, high-pressure chambers, and even flamethrowers. One of the most horrifying aspects of Unit 731's experiments was their sadistic nature. Victims were subjected to unimaginable pain and suffering, often without anesthesia, as researchers sought to understand the effects of their deadly weapons. Even children were not spared, and some were intentionally infected with diseases or subjected to dissections while still alive. The results of these experiments were not only cruel, but also scientifically questionable. The researchers often recorded data in meticulous detail, hoping to gain insights into the weapon's potential. However, much of the data gathered was tainted by the inhumane methods used, making it ethically unacceptable and unreliable for legitimate scientific purposes. At the end of World War II, when Japan surrendered, many of the individuals involved in Unit 731 escaped prosecution. Shockingly, some were granted immunity from prosecution by U.S. authorities in exchange for their research data. This controversial decision continues to be a topic of debate and condemnation, as it allowed those responsible for heinous crimes to evade justice. The controversial decision to grant immunity to members of Unit 731 raises ethical and moral questions about accountability and justice in the aftermath of World War II. This immunity had profound implications for victims, their families, and the broader understanding of war crimes. Immunity was justified by the belief that the unit's research data might benefit the U.S. during the Cold War. This utilitarian perspective prioritized scientific knowledge over holding perpetrators accountable. Classified for decades, the immunity revelation in the 1980s caused outrage but hindered prosecutions. Recent efforts, fueled by evidence and survivor testimonies, aim to expose Unit 731's horrors and seek justice. While some perpetrators have passed away, the need to acknowledge the past and prevent such crimes from being forgotten persists. The disturbing legacy of Unit 731 and Japan's wartime atrocities offers essential lessons for humanity. It serves as a stark reminder of the depths to which human beings can sink when unchecked by ethical and moral constraints. Understanding and confronting this dark chapter in history can help prevent the repetition of such horrors in the future. One fundamental lesson is the importance of accountability and justice. Granting immunity to individuals responsible for heinous crimes sends a dangerous message that perpetrators can escape consequences for their actions. The pursuit of justice, even decades after the crimes, is crucial for acknowledging the suffering of the victims and their families and for upholding the principles of international law. Additionally, the horrors of Unit 731 highlight the ethical boundaries that should never be crossed, even in the pursuit of scientific knowledge or military advantage. The inhumane experiments conducted by the unit serve as a cautionary tale about the moral responsibilities of those in positions of power and authority. For the survivors and descendants of the victims of Unit 731, the quest for recognition and closure continues to be a deeply personal and emotional journey. Many survivors live with the physical and psychological scars of the experiments they endured, and their stories are a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Recognition of the atrocities committed at Unit 731 is a fundamental step towards healing and closure. It validates the experiences of survivors and acknowledges the suffering of those who lost their lives. The international community has a moral obligation to ensure that the memory of these crimes is preserved and that the victims are not forgotten. Efforts to document the history of Unit 731 through survivor testimonies, historical records, and academic research are vital for future generations. These efforts contribute to a more comprehensive understanding of the past and serve as a deterrent against the repetition of such atrocities. In conclusion, Unit 731 represents a dark chapter in human history, characterized by unimaginable cruelty and scientific experimentation on innocent civilians. The decisions made in the aftermath of World War II regarding immunity for those involved raise profound ethical questions. However, the pursuit of justice, the lessons learned from this history, and the ongoing quest for recognition and closure are essential elements of preserving the memory of the victims and ensuring that such atrocities are never repeated. This video has exposed a deeply disturbing and often overlooked part of history. If you found this content both enlightening and unsettling, please consider liking and subscribing to our channel for more fascinating historical insights. By remembering the past, we can work towards a better future.